Look at the picture. See the skull. Visible Frankenstein controls. The Brain Thoughts broadcasting radio. The Frankenstein earphone radio. The latest new skull reforming to contain all Frankenstein controls.
Today's episode of Frankenstein Control is brought to you by Home Depot. They let you use the toilets.
Are you talking about my personal experience, Taylor?
Did you poop in a model toilet?
Did you poop in a model toilet?
No. That's what you were getting at. When we lived at the condo, there was a Home Depot within walking distance, and I was working nights, so I like to walk around early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And they opened up at 6. Mm-hmm. So there were a couple
times.
How
do you finish a fucking shift how do you finish a shift at work, standing up all day, and then you're like, I could go for a walk right now?
No, that was on my days off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounded like hell torture.
Yeah, I didn't get off till like 8 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was exhausted by then.
Right.
But yeah, they were within walking distance, and they opened up at 6, so quite a few times I'd be out on a walk and be like, I really have to poop. And this Home Depot is closer than home is.
Oh, no.
That happened like 3 times.
3 times?
Yes, and that's more times than I went to that Home Depot and purchased things.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on Depot.
Fool me 3 times, shit in the Home Depot.
Home sheet ball. Well, I'm happy that at least somebody could go to the Home Depot.
That's better than the Joanne Fabric story from that one high school.
Don't worry, I use the toilets meant for shitting.
Yeah. Not the display toilets in front of everyone.
Yeah, you only make that mistake once.
Although there was a guy in my visual basic class in high school who, like, for some reason, we had a bunch of weird lockdowns that year. And, like, we had this rule where, like, during a lockdown, you couldn't go to the bathroom. And most teachers who knew the kids, like, were cool about it. Mm-hmm. But we, for whatever reason, were taught by a substitute teacher that, like, this one day we had, like, a major power outage from a storm or whatever. So, like, power outages, we'd go into lockdown procedure as well. Just to say, like, the same protocols as, like, mass shooter kind of shit.
Golly.
And this guy in my class named Bobby had to go to the bathroom, and the substitute teacher, who was a lot more strict about adhering to the policy to the letter, refused to let him. And the boys' room was, like, literally across the hall. Like, you could throw something and hit the door. It was right there. And she wouldn't let him go. So he stood up and hauled off, and in front of God and country, he whizzed in the trash can.
Oh, my God.
I always thought that was the biggest flex I'd ever seen. And I was like, you go, man.
You pee in that trash.
But then the whole class will smell like piss.
Yeah. Should have just let him use the bathroom.
Yeah.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Substitute creature.
That's when you trade pets.
Oh.
Today's episode of Frankenstein Control is brought to you by Frank Herbert's Substitute Creature.
Frank Herbert.
That's right, the author of the famous Dune franchise is moving up in the world and making his very own replacement pet shop, substitute pet shop. That's right. You got your kids you got your pet, you go get a shot for the day, your kid's gonna miss them. Instead, you slop on down to Frank Herbert's Substitute Creature shop.
I'm trying to figure out the order of occurrences here. Do you what?
I told you.
So your dog is sick, and it has to be taken to the vet. But while the dog is sick, your kids are going to miss the dog, so you get a substitute creature.
I see. Are you guaranteed the same phylum of animal?
You are guaranteed nothing.
Yes, there are no guarantees with Frank Herbert and his substitute
You are
creature.
guaranteed a creature, whatever that legally entails.
That's right, here's a live testimonial. Well, old Rover was down at the veterinarian's. We got ourselves a substitute creature. The kids love them. Oh, wait, they love the kids. So, Ethel, get the shotgun!
The kids love them, scream. The kid loves it.
That's way better. So yeah, now that we know the sponsors of this episode, time for a proper introduction. Y'all know it. Y'all love it. It's Frankenstein Control. It's me, T. Doozle. To my right is B. Riddy.
I'm B-Roy.
B-Roy Jenkins. And to my left is A.
I'm MC A Diggy, yo.
A. Diggy.
I'm gonna dig a hole and die in it.
Oh my god. That's kind of like how cats dig a hole.
Uh-huh.
But they poop in it.
Oh.
But it's your body in a big trash can.
God, you reminded me of a depressing polar bear from,
What the fuck?
one of the, like, nature documentaries that, like Planet Earth or Blue Planet, it's something like that. And they're, like, following this polar bear that, had to, like, swim a really long way to, like, have any access to food, and then when he finally got there, he was exhausted, and the only thing that he could possibly hunt were fucking walruses.
Oh.
Which do not go down easy.
No.
And he, like...
Believe me, I've tried.
Like, tries and tries and takes all these risks and ends up getting, like, stabbed in the leg.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was just by a mugger. It's a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
Ever since all the glaciers melting, it's just a bunch of Section 8 housing.
it unfroze all the Paleolithic criminals.
Yeah. Ugg was in process of mugging Sabercat. Now Sabercat gone. Now Ugg will use stone switchblade to mug polar bear.
Ugg's beloved Sabercat gone. Needs substitute creature.
But this polar
It's
bear...
the Ugg from the Ugg has sex with houses thing.
Oh, God. The polar bear is, like, is starving, has no energy, is injured, can't hunt anything. And it just, like... It, like, digs, like, a little pit and then lets out a frustrated roar and then just lays down to die.
Wow.
In the hole
It digs its own grave?
Yeah, it dug a little hole and just like... Argh, and lays down. It's so fucking sad.
And David Attenborough's like, how do you like that shit? You enjoying all your plastics and
All
your...
that happens and David Attenborough just, like, starts maniacally laughing. He's like... That is funny.
Well, he's finally lost it. David Attenborough's finally lost it.
You're gonna go fuck yourselves.
David Attenborough's a good man who cares about wildlife. I would
is.
never put that evil on him.
We have a lot of fun here at Frankenstein
It's a
Control.
joke.
We generally like the people we mock.
Yeah.
Unless we mock them really viciously, in which case it should be obvious. Well, I'll tell you something weird that I saw recently. I was going to try to find some possible way to tie it into anything we were just talking about, and I have
Impossible.
Impossible. I watched the new Matrix movie.
Oh.
It was good. And
I've heard so many mixed feelings.
Yeah,
About it.
I've only heard it's shit and it's amazing.
I would say it's decent. I wouldn't say it's like, whoa, it's fucking great, it's so amazing. It's good, it's fun, it's worth a watch. It's a nice trip down memory lane, and capable performances from everyone, some pretty on the nose writing and some good jokes.
Oh yeah, because he becomes a game when the Matrix reboots and Neo gets brought back into the Matrix, and he's a game designer.
That is the premise that I was going to explain to people without spoiling too much, because it would have helped me understand more what was going on in the first part of the movie if I'd gone into it knowing the premise and having it been explained to me. Maybe trailers did explain this, and I just didn't pick that up from them. Probably because I was stoned. But, yeah, basically, at the end of the original Matrix movies...
Neo dies. It's funny.
Neo and Trinity both ostensibly die, and Neo gets pulled into the digital Jesus light by the machines.
Yeah, he gets pulled into digital Jesus light, and Trinity fucking dies on a spike of rebar.
Yeah. And so the premise of the first part of the movie is that when Neo died that way at the end of the first, series... he woke up in ostensibly like our world, our timeline again, and was like, holy shit, what happened? Did any of that Matrix stuff actually occur? And he was obsessed with it, and he was, suspected that he was back inside the Matrix again, and he was basically spent the 20 years since then becoming a major game designer, making a famous series of video games based on his Matrix experiences, while secretly trying to figure out if he's back in the Matrix or not. And that's the premise of the movie, and I wish someone had told me that.
I didn't see it myself, but I know pretty much all about it.
I will tell
because, again, like I said, this is how I absorb media now.
You don't watch things, you watch things about things.
Yeah, watch things about things, yes.
I'll say something else for it. And this is, again, I want to try not to spoil too much here, but they actually made... So too many movies and shows nowadays, especially if it's a reboot or a continuation of a long-dead series, they love to be up their own asses with the grimdank shit, negating whatever sacrifice was made, making it all pointless, it's like, why did we even have the first movies then if, like, nothing got fixed or solved and nobody's life is any better? And, like, without going into too much spoilery detail, it is actually shown that the things that Neo and Trinity did in the first series and then the way they ended those movies did improve the lives of the people still living in, like, the real, like, the Zion city and all that shit.
I mean, that's just the classic sequel problem, is all the things we did, apparently they weren't good enough because, oops, another problem that's very similar to the first problem happened.
But it's, like, they don't quite do it that way. It felt a little bit better than that. I mean,
no, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm not, they avoided it clearly.
Yes, but...
Because I know some of the stuff you're talking about. They have robot friends.
Yeah, but even that is better than all of these things where it's like, it meant nothing changed, it was totally nothing.
It was Garbo.
We didn't even need to have those movies because it didn't even resolve anything, but it actually does matter what they did in the first movie, so it's actually, I was like, oh, okay, that was for something then, and, you know, there's been progress, that's good, and I appreciated the nuance, because everything feels like it wants to be bleak as fuck in the name of quote-unquote realism. And miss me with that shit.
Yeah, I can't really talk much on the movie because, like I said, I just watched stuff about it. So I know some things. I haven't watched the movie in its entirely, so I feel like I'm not entirely...
Tell you one thing for the fight scenes, they fight a lot of random anonymous...
I hear the fight scenes are really shit.
The fight scenes are not as good as the original movies. I will absolutely concur with that. It is odd. I found it odd. They fight a lot of, like, anonymous soldiers and guards and SWAT. Like, every bad guy looks like a SWAT guy, basically. And everybody fights lots of those guys. And they actually show those guys getting shot, which is odd because Matrix movies and movies that followed the Matrix are famous for, like, lots of guns akimbo blasting, but you don't ever actually see anyone get hit from the bullets. It's just a lot of jumping around. But it actually shows enemies being struck and slain by the projectiles. I was like, I don't know how to feel about that. That feels weird. I was also, because Lissa had never seen the original Matrix movies, and we watched them all before watching... this new one that came out.
What's it called?
Resurections, I think. Matrix Resurrections.
That makes sense.
But I was just cognizant, 20 years later, of how the Matrix influenced everything in pop culture, and then everything looked like it forever. Like Witch Hunter Robin. Even, like, in, anime and stuff, like, from that era, like, the early aughts, like, Witch Hunter Robin has, like, the fucking glass walls and all this, like, interior...
Yeah, it's like what we were saying when...
we probably had this conversation before.
It's similar. It's similar in conversation to what we had when we were talking about Ghost in the Shell's live-action movie, and how, like, even if it wasn't as not so great as it was, like, if it was even if it was better directed... I think a lot of people would find the, just the visuals and all that kind of shit derivative because it's a victim of its own success. Ghost in the Shell paved the way for shitloads of aesthetics across the board in anime and other media, like spanning across media. And The Matrix was the same way. Just, it laid the groundwork for so many other kinds of aesthetic palettes,
I know I told this, like, sort of joke on the podcast before, but Lissa watched Twilight recently. For some reason, Twilight was the only movie, like, we were having buggy internet
You had to
problems.
watch You Some Toilet, and you wanted to watch the stinky scene.
Yes. the internet was buggy and nothing on Netflix would load except Twilight for some reason. So Alyssa got Twilight to play.
Weird.
And we were watching it, and just some of the characters with like the close-ups on Edward and stuff, I was just fucking cracking up because it's been so extensively and widely and just parodied to death,
and lampooned, yeah.
That seeing the original thing, I couldn't discern whether I was seeing it or one of the many parodies. It's sort of.
You know what? To the movie's credit, not that this is a good thing, it's just an interesting thing, is that clearly the movie had a visual aesthetic they were going for, and they fucking nailed it because everybody found it so easy to imitate.
Yeah.
They found it so easy to imitate of how Twilight looked.
I feel really bad for all the
maybe
actors.
there's something to say about that. It's memorable in that regard.
They hit what they were aiming at.
It's shit, but I remember it.
Yeah. I feel really bad for all the actors in that were typecast by those movies and then shat on for years. Kristen Stewart especially, she's a really good actor and she doesn't deserve that.
That's okay.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson's doing okay. He was great in The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Jerking off to mermaids.
Jerking off to mermaid, talking about your goddamn farts.
Living with Willem Dafoe, because that was just Willem Dafoe.
That whole movie was just Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe living together for a year.
It's a documentary, and it happened in real time.
It was for real. Fuck, what was that movie? Like Boyhood? I think it was, or it was recorded over like 10 years of a kid's life.
Oh,
that sounds
I don't
depressing.
know what it was called, but I've heard about that.
Like, the actual filming process took 10 years because the main actor started as a boy and becomes an older boy throughout the course of the story. And, like, that was the big gimmick of the movie is that, the kid ages, and the movie actually took 10 years to fucking film. And, like, as I remember, it got a pretty lukewarm reception. It was like, what the fuck? I don't care.
Yeah.
Turns out I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it turns out the gimmick doesn't hold up to the fact that the writing isn't really all that worth watching.
Yeah, and the worth, I think, is the big part. Is just like, okay, so it took you 10 years to film, but why? Yeah. Why'd you do it, though? What purpose does this serve?
Just effort doesn't quite make something good.
No, yeah, you need to...
If you put a lot of work on it, but you didn't put a lot of work into the things that actually needed it.
Yeah.
Then
it's about choosing your battles.
Exactly.
And that's a battle you don't choose. That's one you don't fight. That's invading Russia in winter. It's a whole lot for a little bit.
Mo Howard never should have done that.
Mo Howard. I remember when Mo Howard started the Third Reich. It was nuts, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to make a Simo joke, and I can't because he was Finnish.
Simo.
I'm
Simo Green?
almost certainly I'm almost certain I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, but there was a Finnish sniper named Simo something or other. Who?
Oh,
he
I
has
know
like
about
the highest
this.
kill count, and he was like he was Finnish shooting Russians. He didn't shoot. I don't know, actually. I need to re-up my Wikipedia reading on
I
Simo
think he was
before I
just
make any
fucking
jokes
crazy, and he was just shooting both Germans and Russians. And
Yeah.
he was completely he was just there because he wanted to kill people because he's nuts.
He was a neutral party.
And he was like,
He was from the country of back off.
Back off here.
He was Fuzzy Lumpkins when people get too close to his shack.
my property.
I want to shoot you with my gun that I have on Powerpuff Girls.
I was raised by a cup of coffee. Oh wait, that's someone different.
Fuzzy Hamsar.
Hamsar Lumpkins. Mm-hmm. Lumpkins is a great word.
Lumpkin.
But yeah, the Matrix. I really should like just sit and give it an actual watch because like
It's fun.
a lot of the videos that I've seen, they're by creators that I like, but also have very different views on life, and they range from like saying it's a fucking mess but I couldn't help but like a lot of it, and like this movie's great and tells an excellent story in meta context and you won't believe it.
If you go into any Matrix movie, and you care about anything beyond the action and the sunglasses and trench coats, you're doing it wrong. Because
Oh gosh,
there's no point to trying to keep track of the Matrix lore.
be right, that's what the movie was
anything.
about.
I know, but
They're making fun of you. That's what a huge chunk of the movie is making fun of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is making fun of that kind of attitude.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's why.
But it's also making fun of.
It feels
people,
very self-aware. The movie.
Oh yeah, the movie's incredibly self-aware from the things that I've seen.
Yeah.
And like the whole bit with the analyst.
Yeah.
Just that whole bit.
Yeah.
Which I won't spoil too much because I'm sure that I don't know how much of a surprise the analyst is.
Yeah.
Analyst is Architect 2.0, and let me tell you, he's legendary.
Okay. I would like to watch the Matrix movies again.
They're good.
I like to watch the first
With a
one.
group of people.
The second one is the best. Everyone knows the second one is the best.
Oh my god, the first one's the best. Everyone hates the second one and then hates the third one the
The
most.
second one has all the cool fights. It's got the fucking ghost twins on the tractor trailer and shit. It's fine.
Which is the one where Neo fights like 1,000 Smiths.
That's the second one.
That's the second one?
That's the best one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he
from
goes
what
on
I
the
remember.
pole
Like it has a bunch of cool fights, but like.
That's what you watch The Matrix for, is the cool fights. Who gives a shit about
But
the
it's
computer?
also when the story starts getting a little like okay.
Starts getting a little bit in its own lore more than because they had nowhere else to turn.
Yeah.
Because from the first movie, it's such a wonderful like stands on its own kind of film. Neo flies away at the end of the movie, flies towards the camera. He's the one. Haha. Okay, he's off to have adventures unknown.
I'm the Christ figure.
Yeah, and so like now that we've
spoon or there's no spoon.
yeah now that we've had Neo's rise to basically godhood within the Matrix, where do you go from there? And so they went. By turning them, they went to gaze at the navel of the world they've created. And so they went a bit more on the lore and shit like that. And that's how you wind up with the architect scene.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis ergo.
Yeah. Yeah. That was weird.
I also want to watch the Animatrix again, but
The
I don't think I
Animatrix.
have the stomach to watch.
Second Renaissance
Second
again?
Renaissance.
Oh, I like Second Renaissance.
That one's rough.
Yeah, there's just a lot of points where it's like I gotta look away at this.
That's a rough one to watch.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
It's fantastic.
it
Yeah, it's
has
just a rough watch.
Some
It's very good.
hard to watch gore things. that
I am
are very unsettling.
completely numb and just like violets, so I enjoy.
Yeah,
Numb nuts.
can't feel your nuts.
Stop shitting on cold things, you dummy. But no, I've said it before, but the running one is the best one.
Oh yeah, oh
in,
yeah.
in the
Everyone,
Animatrix.
everyone loves the running one. The running
Yeah.
one's fantastic.
That one's fucking toit.
The samurai one's pretty sweet too.
Oh yeah, yeah. What happens in that one?
Nobody knows what happens in any of these. It's a fucking Matrix. have a story.
That's why the running one is so great too.
Yeah.
Because you know exactly what's going on.
The samurai one is just like
A training simulation.
yeah, it's like
right?
a training
Yeah.
simulation, but I think it goes wrong because one of them is like I have to know that you have the strength to do what you need to do, and in order to do that, you need to kill me to
like-
prove that you can actually handle this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, what if I was an agent, but you're not an agent? But what if I was? You got to kill me, and it's like, okay,
This is a really complicated suicide, man.
yeah,
Yeah, and Running Man, all it is just this guy ran so fast and so hard that he broke out of the Matrix for a second.
You know,
yeah.
And that's it. That's all it is.
he
That's
broke
all
out
it's-
by
World record, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Actually, 'cause it's not called Running Man.
by pure
If you say the
pushing
Matrix-
of limits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pure force of will.
Pushed beyond the limit of his body
Yeah.
and exited his body.
What
Or
did you say? It's like-
entered his body.
Yeah, he entered, which is just like, that's anime as fuck, and it's great.
Yeah.
pushed beyond his
fantastic.
limits. He went plus ultra, yeah.
I don't remember much of this one, but that one where it's just a bunch of kids in an abandoned
I
house.
love that one. I love
and
that
they-
one.
That was
they-
cool. It's like, I'll tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
wait,
like-
I'm getting that confused with the Batman.
No, it's where they find the haunted house. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
And,
a
like,
bunch
there-
of glitches happen.
And there's a room where like the gravity doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the exact moment
Like,
I was picturing.
They
Yes.
keep like hopping off and then like slowly floating down. And there's one kid that's like laying flat and he's like blowing on the ground and like
Yeah.
lifting himself up with it.
It's fucking cool.
And the one scene where the girl is like trying to find her cat and she opens a door and it's just like a blank void of blackness and echoes.
Yeah. Like,
Oh god, it's House of Leaves.
Yeah.
I've never read House of Leaves, but it comes highly recommended by a certain Game Grump.
It is excellent. Well, it's good, but it's weird. And I read it when I was having a really hard time with things, which is probably why I didn't get as much out of it as I did. I understood immediately why the export of 4chan was obsessed with it.
Oh.
And it is because it deals with...
Unreliable narrator shit, right?
No, not even that. So X was obsessed for a while with like these found footage and videos that aren't real. Like, the Grifter is a famous one. That's an example from the export of 4chan.
Does he sell NFTs?
No. The export of 4chan was the paranormal board of 4chan, for those not in the know. And it was the least, because the people there were only interested in ghosts and goblins, it was the least affected, or for the longest time, of the creeping racism and horror that gradually overtook the tragedy of 4chan.
I'm sorry, I'm still hung up on ghosts and goblins. Yeah. That's what creepypastas are about. That's so...
Ghosts and goblins and the start of the SCP stuff.
That's true,
and,
yeah.
The Imam Shud case, or whatever it was, Tamam Shud, whatever the one where that guy was found dead on the beach and they have no idea who he was. So
Rumham was found next to his corpse.
Rumham, no!
Rumham!
The Rumham would have been immediately suspected as the cause of death.
I think so.
No, they were obsessed with
House of Leaves.
Well, they were obsessed with House of Leaves, but they loved any kind of a thing where there was always these rumored videos that were supposed to be scary or creepy. Like one that was
like Lost
called,
Media videos.
Yeah, like
Candle Cove and shit.
Like Candle Cove, and like one of them was was called The Grifter, and nobody.
Candle Cove is the only acceptable Lost Media creepypasta type shit that I'll ever like because it provides a good out at the end where the parent is like, "Oh yeah, you were just staring at static the whole time." Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
and that's fine. All the fucking Lost Media about like Squidward's suicide and shit is the dumbest shit.
No, that stuff is stupid.
It's
but
for realistic blood.
Yeah, it takes you right out of it because you're just like, because it wouldn't happen.
What I'm talking about is something called. So I mentioned it several times. So there was one called The Grifter, and it was supposedly nobody ever told you what exactly The Grifter was. It was just a scary sounding video, and there was all this shit. It's like, guys, I have the quick link to the streaming of The Grifter, and it was like obviously not real or a scam or you're lucky if it's a rickroll. If not, it's a fucking virus. And
if it's not a virus,
yeah, and so there would be all kinds of threads.
It's a virus that permanently rickrolls your computer.
Yeah, so there was all kinds of streams trying to find the Grifter and offering to like distribute the Grifter, and it's not real. It's the thing, and and no one even knows what it is. But House of Leaves is about a fictional supposed set of tapes about this guy discovering spatial anomalies in his house that get worse and worse. And that
sounds pretty dope. That sounds like exactly the kind of fucking creepypasta shit that I like listening to.
Yeah, and then
that sounds good.
He films a documentary about it called The Navidson Record, and so of course it's like the House of Leaves is about people trying to track down the Navidson Record and verify whether it's real or not, and their various people's experience with watching the Navidson Record and going mad from watching the Navidson Record and analyzing the Navidson Record and seeing this guy do all this spooky shit in his spatial anomaly house and all of the deteriorating effect it has on the mental health of everyone he brings in to help him explore the spatial anomalies, and so that's basically what it's about. But it's like I was like, oh, it's about a fake scary movie that everyone talks about like it's real. So of course they love it. Yeah, because it's just the Grifter 2.0.
That's the kind of a very similar, not very similar. I'm sure House of Leaves is better written.
Oh, House of Leaves is good, but
a creepypasta that I'll often flip on. Like I've listened to this one more than once, and it's like decently long, and I like listening to it even though it has its flaws. It definitely has its flaws, but it's called Necrosleep.net. And it's a story about this hikikomori loser who buys these bills online that promise that he'll never have to sleep again. And like the deleterious effects that it has on him, and are very interesting. And the presentation of it all was pretty good. Save for, I mean, like, hey, I'll just back you up. I'll save something for you if you're not into it. If you think that the premise of it will be weakened, if you find out that the people who made the pills are very obviously some kind of cult, if that's gonna make you roll your eyes, then don't listen to it or read it.
It's got to be some kind of cult.
Yeah.
It's got to be some kind of weird shit.
It could have been better and more subtly weaved into it, but it's not.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the only bit of it that isn't, and I like the story. And Let's Read does a reading of it, and that's the one I always listen to because it's very, I won't say spoopy because that doesn't quite set up. It's very unsettling the way they recorded it and like the sounds they choose to accompany with it, and there's like a very repetitive, like analog fuck up kind of weird music playing in the background, but like that repetition kind of works because it's like this day by day kind of thing of him just like experiencing each day and how bad things get, and that's a very interesting. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To listen to this guy's life fall apart in an interesting way instead of just like, and then all my friends died. Ah.
I don't think I'd take pills that made it so I didn't have to sleep, because
I would.
I mostly like sleeping. I'm largely ambivalent to sleeping, but I like the fact that my brain isn't on all the time. I like that there's a designated period of time, however fleetingly brief, where my brain is not screaming at me.
Yeah,
and
it's nice to be off.
Yeah, it's nice to hit that off switch until you hit it permanently.
Yeah,
I'm always doing shit. I want to do more shit. There's
You
never enough
always
time to
doing
do
shit.
shit. I would take that pill in a second and be like, give me. I'd die, but it'd be fun. Oh, shit. That's what Bob Saget said. Good night, everybody.
No!
Now even you know I am a menace. I hand you the secrets to save the entire human race and the entire universe.